If you are writing the November Grade 12 English First Additional Language Paper 2 exam, this video is the one you need to watch. Your prescribed short story anthology book is Changes, and it contains your prescribed 8 short stories among others. But on exam day, only 2 of them will be said. Today, we focus on the 2 short stories with the highest exam track record. The 2 that, between them, give you the biggest mark advantage for November exams. Short story number 1 is Eveline by Joyce. It was examined in the November 2023 NSC paper, specifically question 5.2. It is set in early 1900s Dublin, and it is a masterclass in modernist literature. Short story number 2 is Forbidden Love by Can Themba. It was examined in the May-June 2024 SC and SC question paper and the September 2023 Eastern Cape preparatory exam. It is set in apartheid era Sophiatown, and it is one of the most powerful South African short stories you will ever read. Both short stories are verified prescribed for the 2026 NSC cycle. By the end of this video, you will know the plot, the setting, every major character, the point of view, the themes, every literary device with verified textual examples, real DBE Memo answers from past papers, and the exam day rules that win you the marks. Take notes. Every single line in this video has been verified against DBE marking guidelines. Don't skip. Before we touch a single short story, let me make sure you understand how the exam actually works. Most learners lose marks not because of a lack of knowledge, but because they misread the structure. Paper 2 is out of 70 marks. You have 2 hours and 30 minutes plus 10 minutes reading time. Paper 2 has 4 sections. Section A is novel, Section B is drama, Section C is short stories, Section D is poetry. Each section is worth 35 marks. But you do not answer all 4. You answer 2 sections. The 2 genres you studied in class. So 35 plus 35 equals 70. If your school studies short stories, Section C gives you 35 marks. About 75 minutes of your exam time. Now here's how those 35 marks are split. Question 5.1 is on the first set of short stories, 18 marks. Question 5.2 is on the second set of short stories, 17 marks. You answer both. You don't get choose between them. And listen carefully. In English First Additional Language Paper 2 Section C, there is no essay question. It is contextual only. Don't get confused by home language exams. That's different. For EFAL, you answer short, structured sub-questions on extracts. The sub-questions follow a predictable pattern. Column matching for 4 marks, static questions for 2 marks, tone identification for 1 mark, plus a reason for 1 mark, a figure of speech for 1 mark, plus relevance for 2 marks. The dreaded, what does this reveal about character, substantiate for 2 marks. Theme discussions for 3 marks, and an open-ended discuss your view for 3 marks. We will drill every single one of these today. 2 short stories, 1 paper. If you don't know them both well, you are gambling with your metric future. So let's fix that now. Short story number 1, Forbidden Love by Can Themba. Can Themba was born in 1924 in Marabastad, Pretoria. His full name was D.O.C. Vuyisile Mthutuzeli Themba. He was the iconic journalist for Drum magazine in the 1950s, the voice of the Sophiatown Renaissance. He died in exile in Swaziland, now called Eswatini, in 1968. And here's what you have to remember. His work was banned under apartheid. The Suppression of Communism Act of 1966 silenced him. His writing was only republished in South Africa after 1982. So when you read Forbidden Love, you are reading a voice that regime tried to erase. The setting. Sophiatown, Johannesburg. Also Noordgesek Primary School. The time period is apartheid era South Africa, mid-20th century. And the laws behind the story. The Prohibition of Mixed Marriages Act of 1949 criminalized interracial marriage. The Immorality Act, originally enacted in 1949 and extended in 1957, criminalized interracial sexual relationships. So the lovers in our short story, they risk arrest, they risk prison, they risk ruin. This is why I want you to hear me clearly. Forbidden love is not just a love story. It is a political indictment of apartheid's cruelty to ordinary families. Every examiner expects you to grasp this. Now the plot. I want you to see this as a mountain, 5 stages. Exposition. Dora, who is colored, and Michael, who is black, hide their relationship in the tall grass because the law forbids them to be seen together. Michael says, and I quote, "Let's feed the faith. That line is your gold. Memorize it. It is a metaphor. Their love is treated as a fragile creature that needs nourishment. We'll come back to it." Rising action. Bobby, that is Dora's younger brother, sees them at school. The principal, Manuel Carolse, finds out. Word spreads to Davy, Dora's older brother. Davy is furious. He gathers his colored friends and they ambush Michael at the rhythmic scene. The climax. This is where the story turns. Salome, who is Michael's sister, arrives. She is carrying a baby and she produces a stock of love letters. The father of her child is Davy himself. The hypocrite is unmasked. Now the resolution. Both families are forced to confront the contradiction. Miss Carter, who is Davy's mother, defies her husband and insists on seeing her grandchild. The lovers no longer have to hide, but the cost has been enormous. The ending is bittersweet rather than triumphant. Now let's meet the characters. Dora is the colored young woman in love with Michael, despite the law. She is courage personified. She keeps the relationship alive. Michael is the black young man, the one who is beaten at the rhythmic cinema. He symbolizes endurance under apartheid violence. Davy is Dora's older brother. On the outside, he enforces apartheid racial codes, even by violence. On the inside, he is secretly fathering a child with Michael's sister. He embodies hypocrisy. Salome is Michael's sister. She is Davy's secret lover. She drives the climax. She is the truth teller. Bobby is Dora's younger brother. He discovers the relationship at school. His innocent observation sets the whole chain of events in motion. Miss Carter is Davy's mother. She defies her husband to see her grandchild. She is a quiet symbol of defiance in family bond. Manuel Carolse is the school principal. He knows about the relationship through Bobby, but he refuses to disclose racial information because he knows it could cause trouble for the families. Don't make the mistake of saying he supports the lovers. He simply protects them through silence. Point of view, and this matters for the exam. Forbidden Love uses a third-person omniscient narrator, unnamed, with access to all characters' thoughts. That is what allows us to feel the community pulse, not just the lovers. We see Davy's hypocrisy and Dora's courage from the inside. 5 themes, each one has appeared in a memo. Master these. Theme number 1, defiance. Dora continues seeing Michael despite the law. Miss Carter defies her husband to see her grandchild. Salome defies Davy by revealing the truth. This was the September 2023 Eastern Cape Preparatory Memo questions. Verified. Theme number 2 is hypocrisy. Davy attacks Michael for loving Dora, while himself fathering a child with Michael's sister. The whole apartheid moral framework is exposed as bankrupt. Theme number 3, racial prejudice and apartheid. The story shows how the laws distort family, love, and friendship. The word native, the apartheid-era racial classification, carries the violence of the system inside it. Theme number 4, family and shame. Both families are shaken, but shame becomes the engine of truth. That's the irony. Theme number 5, forbidden love itself. Love that crosses racial lines under apartheid. The title is literal, and it is the story emotional core. Now, the literary devices. 10 of them. Every example is verified, pulled from the KZN Teacher's Guide and Mind the Gap. Device number 1, personification. Here's the quote. This business of becoming an African is nearest to her. Seems would soonest catch her in its cruel fingers. Apartheid is given the hands of a predator. The abstract system becomes physical, instinctive. Device number 2, simile. Here's the quote. A ghost-like shadow. Michael becomes a ghost-like as car headlights pass over him. It suggests both his vulnerability and the way apartheid erases him from the public view. Device number 3, metaphor. Quote, his dark form swam towards her. Michael is described as swimming in the night, fluid, vulnerable, dangerous. The metaphor blends body and a shadow. Device number 4, another metaphor. Here's the quote. Let's feed the faith. Their love is treated as a fragile creature that needs feeding. It captures the flight to keep hope alive. Device number 5, irony. Davy hunts Michael for loving Dora, while secretly fathering a child with Michael's sister. The persecutor is the bigger transgressor. That single contradiction delivers the story's political punch. Device number 6, symbolism. The tall grass. The lovers hide in the tall grass. It symbolizes concealment, fragility, and the tiny space apartheid leaves for love. It can be flattened in seconds. Device number 7, symbolism. The rhythmic cinema. Michael is ambushed there. A place of public leisure becomes a place of public violation. Apartheid's violence intrudes on ordinary jobs. Device number 8, loaded diction. The recurring phonetic spelling native, NAYTIF. Apartheid's racial classification is heard in the white speaker's accent. The word itself does the work of dehumanization. Device number 9, tone, ironic and foreboding. Themba describes apartheid laws with quiet, controlled irony. He never preaches. The understatement forces you, the reader, to draw the moral conclusion. Device number 10, mood, anxious and threatening. Hiding, looking over shoulders, ambush, exposure. The reader feels the lovers' fear in their own pulse. The mood does the political argument. Now, here are the 4 mistakes that cost learners marks every year. Don't be that learner. Mistake number 1, confusing Davy with Michael. Davy is colored, Dora's brother, the antagonist. Michael is black, Dora's lover. They are in opposite sides of the love story. Write the wrong name and you can lose 2 marks instantly. Mistake number 2, saying Salome is Dora's sister. She is not. Salome is Michael's sister and Davy's secret lover. She is the truth teller of the climax. Mistake number 3, reading the short story as just a love story. It is a political indictment of apartheid. Love is the lens. The system is the target. Examiners reward learners who see this. Mistake number 4, saying the principals support the lovers. Nene Carlson refuses to disclose racial information because he knows it could cause trouble. He protects through silence. He does not actively support. Here are 2 verified memo answers from the September 2023 Eastern Cape preparations and the May-June 2024 question paper. First question. One of the themes in Forbidden Love is defiance. Discuss this theme in the short story. 3 marks. The memorandum accepts. Dora defies society by continuing her relationship with Michael despite the law. Miss Carter defies her husband by insisting on seeing her grandchild. And Salome defies Davy by exposing him as the father of her child. 3 points, 3 marks. Here's the second question. Why does Davy's behavior towards Michael shows situational irony? Substantiate. 2 marks. The memorandum accepts. Davy violently opposes Dora's relationship with Michael, who is black. Yet Davy himself has fathered a child with Michael's sister, Salome. Both parts must appear for full marks. The statement and the substantiation. Here's the exam technique. Write the theme using PEEL. P is the point. State the theme. E is evidence. Give your textual evidence. Another E is explanation. Link evidence to the point. L is the link. Connect back to the short story's bigger meaning. PEEL works perfectly for the 3-mark theme questions. And remember this rule. Any question with the word substantiate is a 2-part answer. 1 mark for the statement, 1 mark for the evidence. Skip the evidence and you have half your marks. Forbidden love, done. Plot, characters, themes, devices, memo answers, all verified. 1 minute recap. Apartheid era romance. Dora is colored plus Michael is black. Davy's hypocrisy is the engine of the climax. 5 themes. We talk about defiance, hypocrisy, racial prejudice, family, and forbidden love. Top devices, personification, simile, symbolism, irony, diction. 2-part substantiate questions. Always answer both halves. Story number 2. Eveline by James Joyce. James Joyce, born in 1882 in Dublin, Ireland, died in 1941 in Zurich, Switzerland. A towering figure of modernist literature, he invented techniques, stream of consciousness, the epiphany that the whole 20th century built on. Eveline comes from Dubliners, first published in 1940. It is the 4th story in the collection. The whole book is about Dublin's paralysis, Joyce's word for how the city traps its people. Every story ends in epiphany, a sudden painful realization. Eveline's epiphany, and you must understand this, is that she cannot leave. The setting is Dublin, Ireland, late 1890s, early 1900s. There are 2 key locations in this short story. Only 2. The family home, where she sits at the window, and the North Wall Harbour, where she fails to board the ship. The whole short story plays out in those 2 spaces. Memory at the window, decision at the harbour. Hold that in your head. Plot mountain, 5 stages. In the exposition, at the window. Evening evades at the venue, at the avenue. She smells the dust of the Cretan curtains. She reviews her life, her job, her family, her father's abuse. She is weighing escape against duty. What she remembers, her late mother's deathbed promise to keep the family together. Her father's violence and alcoholism. Their brothers, Harry and Ernest. Ernest is dead. The priest whose yellowish photograph hangs above the harmonium. In the rising action, that is where Frank's offer. Frank is a sailor she has been seeing in secret. He offers her marriage and a new life in Buenos Aires. She loves him, but the past has its grip on her. The climax at the North Wall. The ship's whistle calls her. Frank calls her to come. She grips the iron railings. Paralysis seizes her. Resolution? She does not go. The story ends with the line, and I quote, she set her white face to him, passive, like a helpless animal. She gives Frank, I quote, no sign of love or farewell or recognition. That is the Joycean epiphany. She cannot escape to bleed. Here's the closing image, the simile, passive like a helpless animal. Memorize that line. It is the story's emotional climax and an exam quote God. Now let's look at the characters. Eveline Hill, the protagonist, a young woman, perhaps 19. She works at the stores. She also keeps house at home. She is torn between escape and duty. The promise to her dying mother haunts her every moment. Frank, her sailor lover. He has been seeing her in secret. He offers her marriage and a new life in Buenos Aires. He calls her to the ship at the North Wall. She does not come. He sails alone. Her father, the antagonist of her freedom. Abusive, controlling, alcoholic. He takes her wages. He threatens violence. He represents the patriarchal trap. Her late mother, the voice from the past. She extracted Eveline's promise to keep their home together. Her dying cry, Derevon Seron, meaning still debated by Joyce scholars. She is the symbol of duty, a chain. And finally, the priest. We never met him. We only see his photograph on the wall. He is the symbol of religious and patriarchal authority. His unseen presence weighs on every decision Eveline makes. Point of view: Eveline uses third-person limited. The narrator stays inside Eveline's head. We share her thoughts, fears, and memories, but we do not get other characters in our lives. This is different from Forbidden Love. And the writer uses a signature technique: free indirect discourse. The narrator's voice blares into Eveline's thoughts. We cannot always tell who is speaking, narrator or character. This is what creates the catastrophic paralyzed effect. If you can name Joyce's technique, free indirect discourse, you stand out in any literary essay. Examiners rewards it instantly. Write it down. 6 themes, all essential for short stories. Theme number 1, paralysis. Joyce's central theme across all Dubliners. Eveline is unable to act. She is paralyzed by fear. The whole short story builds to that paralysis at the harbor. Theme number 2, duty versus freedom. Duty to her dead mother and to her family. Freedom in Buenos Aires with Frank. Duty wins, but at a devastating cost. Theme number 3, fear of the unknown. The familiar misery feels safer than unfamiliar happiness. Better the cage you know. Theme number 4, memory and the past. Memories of childhood, of her mother, of her brothers. The past has more emotional weight than the future. The dead control the living. Theme number 5, religion and patriarchy. The priest's photograph on the wall. The harmonium and the broken family. The father's absolute control. Both instructions weigh against escape. Theme number 6, escape and its impossibility. The whole short story is built around the possibility of living, and the climax delivers the impossibility. Joyce's bitter irony. She had the chance and she didn't take it. 10 devices. Every example from the prescribed text. Device number 1, simile. Here's the quote. She said her white face to him, passive like a helpless animal. Eveline is reduced to mute helplessness. The simile delivers the story's emotional climax. She is now an object rather than an agent. Device number 2, symbolism. The window. Eveline sits at the window watching the evening invade the avenue. The window is the threshold she cannot cross. She looks at the outside world without joining it. Device number 3, symbolism. The dust. Eveline smells the dust of the cretonne. Dust equals stagnation, decay, the death of possibility. Her home is gathering dust like a sealed room. Device number 4, symbolism. The priest's photograph. A yellowish photograph hangs above the harmony. Religion and the patriarchy hangs over her decision. The priest she never meets watches everything. Device number 5, symbolism. The iron railings. At the north wall, she clutches the iron railing. The railings are her own self-imprisonment. She holds her cage shut from the inside. Device number 6, foreshadowing. Her mother's final cry, Derevon Seron. The meaning is disputed, but the cry foreshadows Eveline's own descent into a kind of madness of duty. Device number 7, sensory imagery. The odor of dust cretonne. The evening invades the avenue. The writer uses smell and twilight light to build a stifling, decaying mood inside the home. Device number 8. Irony. She is given the chance of love and freedom and she refuses it. The door is open. She chooses the key. That is devastating irony. Device number 9. Free indirect discourse. Is it wise? She tried to weigh each side of the question. Whose voice is that? Narrator? Eveline? Joyce dissolves the boundary, so we live inside her paralysis. Device number 10. Epiphany. A mute paralysis at the north wall is the moment of revelation. She and we realizes she will never leave Dublin. The epiphany is Joy's signature, and the examiners will reward you for naming it. 4 mistakes that cost learners marks every November exams. Mistake number 1. Saying Eveline elopes with Frank. She does not. The climax is her refusal, not her departure. Frank sails alone. Mistake number 2. Saying Eveline is set in South Africa. No. Eveline is set in Dublin, Ireland, early 1900. The Buenos Aires Frank offers here is across the Atlantic Ocean. Mistake number 3. Calling Frank her husband. Frank is a sailor she has been seeing in secret, a suitor. He proposes elopement. Is not her current husband. Mistake number 4. Missing the religious and patriarchal subtext. The priest's photograph and their father's authority are not just background details. The writer builds them into the symbolic walls of her cage. From the November 2023 NSC paper, 2 verified memo-style answers. First question. What does the seemingly passive like a helpless animal suggest about Eveline at the end of the short story? 2 marks. The memorandum accepts. She has been reduced to a state of mute helplessness, and she has lost agency and can no longer act on her own decisions. Both parts. State, then substantiate. Second question. One of the themes in Eveline is paralysis. Discuss this theme. 3 marks. The marking guideline accepts. Eveline is unable to leave her family despite the chant with Frank. She is held back by a promise to her dying mother, and at the harbor she physically freezes, unable to follow Frank. The paralysis is dramatized. Write the 3-mark theme using PEEL. P. Paralysis runs through every scene of Eveline. E. Evidence. She freezes at the railings at the North Wall. E is explanation. The physical freezing makes the psychological theme visible. And L is the link. It confirms Joyce's central claim about Dublin's people. Eveline, done. Plot, character themes, device, memo answers, all verified. 1 minute recap. Dublin, early 1900s. She sits at the window, then walks to the harbor. Frank offers her freedom. She refuses. 6 themes: paralysis, duty versus freedom, fear, memory, religion and patriarchy, and escape. Top devices: simile, symbolism, foreshadowing, irony, free indirect discourse, epiphany. Don't say she elopes, she stays. Here's a quick side-by-side. Forbidden love. So it's South Africa during apartheid. Third person omniscient. Themes: it's defiance, hypocrisy, racial prejudice. The tone is ironic, foreboding. Ends with exposure and bittersweet relief. Eveline is set in Dublin in early 1900. Third person limited, free indirect discourse. Themes: it's paralysis, duty versus freedom, fear. The tone is melancholic, claustrophobic. Ends with paralysis, and she stays. Here's the 5 rules. These are the rules that turn knowledge into marks. Rule number 1. If the question says, substantiate, your answer has 2 parts. Skip either half and you lose half the marks. This is the single biggest mark killer in English first additional language question 5. Rule number 2. Never answer just yes or no. The DBE memorandum says 0 marks for that. You must justify your answer. Rule number 3. For 3-mark theme questions, use the PEEL method. Point, evidence, explanation, link, 4 short sentences. That's it. Rule number 4. Quote properly. Use inverted commas around the quoted phrase. Keep quotations short. A few words are enough. Embed the quote in your own sentence. If you can't remember the exact words, paraphrase. Don't fake quote. Rule number 5. Manage your times. Section C is 35 marks, about 75 minutes. 5 minutes to scan and read both extracts. 30 minutes for 5.1, that's the 18 marker. 30 minutes for 5.2, the 17 marker. 10 minutes for checking and corrections at the end. Quick tone vocabulary. Memorize this for the 1 mark tone questions. Anxious, mocking, sarcastic, nostalgic, hopeful, defiant, pleading, desperate, sympathetic, scornful, resigned, ironic, regretful, confident, proud, bitter. That's 16 words. And they will cover most tone questions in any question paper. What the marks tell you? 1 mark equals a single fact or label. Don't write a paragraph. 2 marks equals state plus substantiate. 3 marks equals a mini paragraph. PEEL works. 4 marks usually equals a column match. Each pair scored independently. During the exam day checklist, do this in the first 60 seconds. Open your question paper. Check which 2 short stories are set. Confirm you have studied both. If so, section C is logged in. Read both extracts before writing anything and underline the mark allocations in the question paper. 60 seconds, then start. 3 takeaways. Number 1, both your stories are verified and prescribed for 2026 final examination. Eveline was examined at the NSC in November 2023. Forbidden Love was examined in May-June 2024 SC or NSC. Both remain on the current changes anthology selection. Number 2, master the technique, not just the plot. Section C rewards analysis, not retelling the story. 2-part answers, PEEL paragraphs, substantiated views, quote short, embed quotes, explain effects. Number 3, practice with the memos open. Download the November 2023 NSC paper and the May-June 2024 paper. Answer section C under timed condition. Mark yourself against the official memo. Repeat weekly until November. That is how you turn this video into a distinction. If this video helped you, subscribe to Professor Rin channel. If this video helped you, subscribe to Professor Rizin Education channel. New English First Additional Language Masterclasses every Sunday at 10 a.m. South African time. Coming next week on the channel, Paper 2 Section A, Novel Masterclasses, Section B, Drama, Section D, Poetry Deep Dive, and Paper 3, the 50-mark essay structure. Drop a comment. Which short story do you find harder, Forbidden Love or Eveline? Which theme do you want a deep dive on next? And which other short stories should I cover before November? Subscribe, share with your class, tag a friend who is studying short stories. Let's pass November exams together.